Life and business can be easy, but us silly humans love getting in our own way. My name is Nico Rapclis, and I've had a wild journey. From releasing traumas that I held on to for decades, to playing college athletics, working with multi-million-dollar brands, having a spiritual awakening, and now coaching incredible humans navigate their inner and outer world. The Just Grow podcast is my outlet to share and help others with life and business. After investing north of $100,000 into my personal and professional development, the Woo plus Do formula is what has served me best. A healthy combination of mindset, energetics, consciousness, spirituality, self-healing, and discovery, matched with a high-level strategy, principles, focus, optimization, and accountability to help you be, do, and have everything that has been placed in your heart. This podcast is for the impact-driven entrepreneur that is finally ready to start thriving internally and externally. Welcome to Just Grow. Yo, what's happening, my friends? Welcome to the Just Grow podcast. My name is Nico Rapclis. So pumped to have you here. I am the host here at the Just Grow podcast. If you're new around these parts, so excited for this particular episode with Jonathan Slark. So I met Jonathan, it's been probably around like 4, 5, 6 months-ish. I met him at a really cool event and we just hit it off right away. And so Jonathan has been extremely successful in his construction business, made millions and millions of dollars. And now he's also coaching people on how to utilize the mindset to actually create the reality and manifest everything that they truly desire. And so he has a really cool concept known as the law of vibration. And so we dive deep into this and how you can utilize it to actually start manifesting the life that you truly desire. So you're not going to want to miss a single second of this episode. Before we jump into that interview, I want to let you know about our Magnetic Manifesting School community. So if you're looking to take your manifestations to the next level and truly become magnetic, where you pull things in that are for you and repel the things that are not for you, you'll definitely want to join this group. Right now it is a free group. Soon it will be a paid, but we go live every single week and just go dive deep. We've had a lot of success stories in there, and it's a really cool community of over 500 people. So make sure and join that. There's a link down in the video description. Also, be on the lookout for our next podcast events. We have another one coming up on the 21st of September, as well as the 19th of October. You can find out all the information at justgrowpodcast.com. Without further ado, let's jump in this interview with Jonathan Slark.
What up, brother?
What is going on, my dude?
I'm so glad to be doing this one. I mean, we met at Secret Knock out in San Diego, and it was like you were one of the first people I met out there, and it was cool because I barely knew anyone in that room besides Michael and Blake.
Yeah.
And it was interesting how like we got connected first, and then we just kept seeing each other every day, and then yeah, we just stayed in touch a little bit here and there, and I think we both ultimately knew we deserved to sit down and have a proper podcast interview at some point. So I'm so pumped to have you here, man.
Thank you, bro. I'm super proud to be here. I'm grateful that I'm here. Yeah, we connected sort of right away, and I was like, I gotta know this dude. We gotta stay buddies. So I'm
Absolutely.
glad I'm here, dude.
Yeah. So glad to have you here. So yeah, man, why don't we dive into your story a little bit and tell us how you got into the world of business? Because I know you've had a lot of business success with your companies, and then you have your coaching company too, that it just seems like every time I talk to you, you have so much passion around it. And I'm really excited to dive in on why that is and what you help people with. So yeah, lead us
Okay.
into like how you got into entrepreneurship and then how you got more and so into the mindset realm.
So my name is Jonathan Slark, and I live in the middle of Ohio. And when I was 18 years old, I started a construction company. And if we back up a little bit, I started doing construction in high school because it was the easiest way for me to make more money than my buddies. Everybody was working fast food through high school, or you work at a grocery store, and at the time you were making like $5 an hour. And I was like, I want to make more money than that. And so I started doing construction work on a construction crew after school
Mhm.
and learned the ropes of construction as the grunt kid. I was doing all the dirty work, sand and drywall, ripping out toilets. If it was dirty, I had to go do it.
Mm.
And but I just kept showing up. And they'd pay me, and I was making like $9 an hour at a time when everybody else was making 5. And so I thought I was on top of the world. So I kept doing that, became a crew leader in the construction world and then graduated high school. I was a crew leader before the end of high school. And then just as I'd become this crew leader and I'm making 13 bucks an hour and I'm on top of the world, I got a company truck. The company had its money locked up by the banks because this is like 2008-ish. And my boss calls me and he goes, "Hey, company's out of business. Bring your truck back. See you later."
Damn.
And I had no idea what to do. And I got a job at a grocery store, making $5 an hour. And I was working full 36-hour work weeks for $88.
Jeez.
And I was like, something's got to change because I'm a freshman in college at this point. And then it all shifted. A buddy of mine had a party on campus and they broke a window, put a hole in drywall, and broke a cabinet door. And he called me and was like, "Dude, can you fix this before my landlord finds out?"
Mm.
And I was like, "Yeah, dude, I can fix it." So I fixed it in an afternoon. I charged him $400. And at the end of that afternoon, he paid me 4 $100 bills. And it was in that moment that I realized I made more money in just a few hours than I was making at a whole month of working at the grocery store.
Jeez.
But I was too afraid to quit. So I did. I started doing some handyman work. That handyman work led into starting a construction company. And by the time I was out of college, we had a pretty good business. We were humming along. And then as soon as I graduated college, we ended up growing the business even more. And we still operate that business today. So we've been in business almost 19 years now. So
Congratulations, man.
thank you. So from that, turns out if you tell people the truth and you do what you say you're gonna do, your business just sort of rakes in some dollars.
Wild concept there.
Wild concept. And I don't come from a family of means. So I start making a little bit of money and I have no idea what to do with it.
Hmm.
So I do the only thing that a single mid-20 something would do with a lot of extra dollars. I start buying a bunch of crazy stuff.
Hmm.
Cars and houses and experiences and motorcycles and all the things. That starts bringing attention to me. People were going, "What's this kid doing? How's he getting the stuff?" And then other people started going, "Hey, can you help me start a business? Can you help me through this? How do you fix this?" So some business consulting kind of came in at a pretty young age. And then I was like, "Yeah, I'll teach people how to run businesses." And very quickly I realized that I could teach anybody how to run a company, but if they didn't have the mindset to get themselves over a certain hump, they were going to continue to self-sabotage whenever they reached this spot, and then they were going to start over.
Hmm.
And when I realized that, it took me a couple of years to realize that key, but I was like, I'm going to shift from the business coaching to the mindset coaching.
Hmm.
And that's how the whole mindset stuff started. And it started just one-on-one. Friends, buddies, other people running companies would have issues, and I go, "Look, here's your holdup. You've got this thing and you keep self-sabotaging it, and let's dig into why." And then you go back and you heal that thing, or you redirect that energy, you watch what you're saying, start understanding the power of words, and all of a sudden things start to shift.
Hmm.
And that caught enough momentum over several years of doing that. And it's almost been 2 years ago now. It's like 20 months. I got enough people saying, "Hey, we need a group course. We need
Hmm.
a group coaching program. This needs to be a little more organized." Because I was just doing it, you know, it wasn't a huge deal. I mean, we had 10 or 12 clients that were rotating in and out and on the mindset stuff, but I was still doing the coaching. And over the last 2 years, the group courses have grown, lives have changed. Thousands of people are, we've impacted a lot of lives now.
Hmm.
And it became a massive passion very quickly.
Yeah.
Because when you start recognizing you can shift an entire generation of people by shifting one person, it
Facts.
it was absolutely amazing. And very early on, one of our students messaged me. It's still today been one of the most important text messages I've ever gotten. And he just texted me because he'd been having some problems in his life, and he'd been having problems with family and problems with kids and problems with his company. And he sent me this message and he said, by you walking in your calling, you're allowing me to walk in mine.
Mm.
And I was like, okay, that was a huge point for me where I was like, all right, this is a good thing to do. And so I've dug into it, and that's how I met you in San Diego.
Hey. Oh man. I can
So
already
that's
think
the
of
story. That's how it started,
20
man.
different things I want to
Yeah,
go
it was
back into.
basically it was an accident. It wasn't I had no intention of doing mindset coaching. I just wanted to, because so many of us start our businesses, at least I did, there was no mindset around it.
Mhm.
It was just like, let's grind and let's push and let's hustle and let's just, let's not sleep and let's work as hard as we can. And then you realize you're like, maybe there's an attraction factor here that I could tap into and I don't have to work quite so hard.
Hey. Well, one thing that popped out to me right away is, and I don't know if it's the fact that you just glazed over it or you didn't have that many challenges, but it seemed like you didn't have a whole lot of resistance with your path. Like you're like, oh, I want to make more money than the guys that are making money at fast food, so I'm gonna go do construction. And you just went and did it. And then the company went under, and then you're like, I don't know what to do, but I'm gonna go do this. And you just went and did it. And then someone said that one of your friends wanted you to fix up their place before the landlord, and you just were like, yeah, $400, did it. And then you turn that into a company, and now it's a successful company. So I'm not like, unless you were just skipping over things, it sounds like you don't have a whole lot of resistance. Is that true?
Well, in the very beginning, that is pretty true. There wasn't a lot of resistance because I didn't know. Like I opportunities showed up and I just did it because I didn't have another choice. I just
Mhm.
thought, okay, this would be a good thing. I might do that. Okay, let's do that. There wasn't a whole lot of resistance. But then I got in my own way and I started creating all of this resistance for
Mm.
myself. And because I start the company, I start making a little bit of money. And now I'm like, oh, now I gotta create more work to keep guys busy. I gotta go do more stuff because if it's just you just gotta take care of yourself. But as soon
Mhm.
as you start having employees and people and staff, and now you have office space and now you have a warehouse, you have to generate a lot more money. And I'm like,
Mhm.
okay, now, and I start worrying. How am I going to pay this payroll? How am I going to buy this thing? How am I going to get this job completed? How am I going to do this? What if they don't like it? And I start getting in my way. And so there have been many levels of ups and downs, super high successes and near bankruptcies. And we've been all over the place within that. And as it's come sort of full circle to where I started with very low resistance because I had no idea what to do and I just wasn't worried about it.
Mhm.
To me, worrying about it and trying to control the process, to me, sort of coming back to the spot of like, hey, maybe I should just not worry about this in the same way. And maybe I should shift my focus and maybe I could shift my perspective. And maybe I could release that resistance, sort of delegate this to the universe and see what happens.
Yes.
And as I have gotten out of my own way, as I've decreased my resistance, as I've unclogged my own pipes, things just start to flow.
Absolutely. You know,
And
continue.
I was just gonna say, when you get out of your own way, you can flow. I tell our people, pull in your oars. You're paddling upstream, and pull in your oars and just float for a minute.
Where did you just come up with that?
I heard it somewhere to some aspect of it, but there's a whole lot of it that I've come up with. Yeah, I heard somebody else say you're paddling upstream, but we've elaborated on it because here's what happens in your journey of struggle. You're just you're looking at everybody else because we get in this mode of competition, right? And you're paddling upstream right next to the guy beside you, and you're both paddling upstream, just working as hard as you can to get as far as you can upstream. And you're paddling, paddling, paddling. And then you get around other companies and you're like, wow, they're so successful. And then you come to realize, oh, they're only so successful because they have more people paddling upstream. Like they just have, they have more people paddling. And we do this in our lives. We struggle and struggle and struggle. But what if you just pulled in the oars? And what if you stopped struggling and you said, I'm just going to go with the flow for a minute? So think about yourself. If you're canoeing or kayaking and you just pull in your oars, you're paddling upstream. What direction do you go when you stop paddling? You start going with the flow,
Mm-hmm.
but you're going backwards. And that's scary because you're not used to it. You know, you've got your back to the flow and you're flowing backwards initially, but you're still going in the right direction, but you're scared. How many times have you guys ever been in a spot where you pull in your oars, you go, I'm not going to worry about this. And you try to relax, but you can't relax because you're like, oh, I have to be doing something. I should be doing something. I can't take this day off. I should be at work.
Mm.
What if you just relaxed through that? What if that's a paradigm mentality? What if you can just flow in the unknown for a minute? Because that's what's happened as you're going backwards. You're flowing with the unknown. You don't know what's back there, but at least you're going in the right direction.
Hey, that's so good. The thing that just keeps coming to me, and it's like been the common theme of a lot of conversation I've been having lately, is this fact that there is so much wisdom in the unknown,
Yeah.
in the universal knowledge, if you will. And if we just let let it be and not trying to control things, and we pull in our oars and let
Yep.
the flow of the river take us where it's going to take us,
Right.
we're not going to have to paddle upstream.
Right. And here's the beauty of it. Do you canoe or kayak at all?
I actually did it recently for the first time.
Okay, so here's when you're canoeing or kayaking or doing anything on a river, if you're going backwards, let's say you're going backwards, it's a little spooky. You're like, I don't know where I'm going. I don't want to run into anything. But eventually the current will turn you around.
Mm.
Right. So in our lives, if we can just sit in that unknown for a minute, if we can sit in the uncomfortable, scary spot, we're going with the flow, but we're a little nervous. We don't understand what's happening. This is uncomfortable. We don't do this very often. But if we can sit there long enough, you're going to get an inspired idea. Your intuition's going to say something to you. It's going to pull you and go, hey, do that. Call that person. Pull in there.
Mm.
And when that happens, that's the spinning of your boat. Because when you take that inspired action, everybody here has had one of these experiences where you had this download or this intuition or this inspired thought to go do this thing. And it just aligns. Like how much faster does that thing happen than if you try to force it? It happens so much faster. And that's the intuition. When you get that intuitive thought, when you get that inspired action, that's your boat turning around. And then you can put your oars back in the water and guess what? Now you're paddling with the flow.
Mm.
And you're going there faster, you're going there easier, things are accelerating. I mean, look at our relationship. Look how fast we connected, and it just feels like we're like it was amazing.
Mm-hmm. It's not trying
So
to force anything.
no, don't force it. Pull your oars in, relax with the flow. And then when you have an inspired action or when you have an inspired idea, when you have an intuition that's calling on you, then you can put your oars back in the water. And then you can take action on that.
Can you give us an example of something like a story within your community that has been really inspiring of someone that has integrated all this really well?
All right, I'll give you two. Because these are the two things everybody wants to hear, relationships and money, right? So one of our guys, he's been in the real estate game for forever. He's not a realtor, but he's an investor and he's in real estate. That's his whole business. He's always been in this world. He's always made a higher than average salary and he's always done well. But he's done it in a resistant manner where he has fought and fought and fought. And as he started to clear out that resistance, and we said, pull in your oars, pull in your oars. And as he pulled in his oars and started to follow these intuitive actions, little things happen and his confidence grows. He's like, oh, I followed that. And I believe in myself now because that thing really worked out. And I
Yeah.
feel better. So now I trust the process again. And now I'll try it again. And then it works. And then his confidence grows. And then it works again and his confidence grows. So literally today, I could pull up the text message. He closed a deal today, made $119,000 today.
Solid day.
And that's what he said. He was like, not bad for one day. And he messaged me a couple weeks ago because we were talking about this. I said, what's your financials look like for the year? He said, this was based on a couple weeks ago. He said, I'll make more money this year personally than my entire company did in sales last year. And that was before a couple of these other deals had come through. And I think last week he made 58,000 and today he did 119. And as he has gotten, so he's had, he's going to have close to a $200,000 2 weeks by the time the other stuff closes.
Yeah.
And, that's just in 2 weeks. And it's nonstop. We have a thing within our group where it's a hashtag where we say we can't stop it. Because when you get in the flow, we say hashtag can't stop it. Because it's just bringing it and bringing it and bringing it. Because what would your energy feel like if you got a $119,000 deal today? You got a wire transfer for 120 grand. How would you feel? You're on top of the world. Feel great. That vibrational energy of you feeling that great just attracts what? More of the exact same thing. So as he's doing this and he's creating more abundance in his life, he's just creating more abundance in his life and he's stacking all of these things. And you know what he said to me? He said, you know what was the most wonderful feeling about this? He was like telling my wife, he said, I transferred money to her and I said, hey, go pay all your debt. And he was like, you know how that feels? It's an incredible feeling. So there's a finances thing. Another guy, single dad, and has had a ton of terrible relationships with the mother of his children, where she tries to take the daughters and tries to, has not been a very positive relationship. And he did not come to us for money or for body image or for time freedom. He said, I want to heal this relationship because I don't want my daughters growing up without me. I don't want them to believe the things that, have been said within the family. And I want to show them who I am. And over the last year, not only has he fixed this relationship with his daughters, they're 15 and 17 years old. They've decided to move in with him.
Wow.
And they spend all their time with him. And not only has he healed the relationship with his daughters, he's healed the relationship with the ex-wife. That was now there's no point in getting, rekindling that relationship. She's moved on, he's moved on. But to a place of where there's no animosity anymore. They have allowed their differences to heal. He has healed. She's healing. And watching her heal through his transition has been absolutely amazing. So it's not just, there's 4 key tenets that we teach that if people have problems with, if you want more money, we can show you how to make more money. If you want time freedom, we can show you how to get more time freedom. If you want better health, we can show you how to increase your health. And if you want a different relationship, we can show you how to get the relationships you want. But it's all based on the same exact thing, and it's vibrational alignment. Vibrational harmony. We have a word that we made up. The word is vibronious. And vibronious is vibrational harmony. And so if you are being vibronious, you're in harmonious vibration with the thing that you want, with the person that you want, with the relationship you want. It's absolutely fantastic. As I was going through some of the questions that you had sent me for the Vision Espresso, I sat with it and I said, I'm vibronious with these things. The feeling of how it feels to live your perfect. You know what I realized earlier today?
Hmm.
One of your questions was, what is your perfect day? Right. Now, this particular house, I don't have a pool here. And in my Vision Espresso, I said I wake up in this particular way and I go eat my fruit by the pool. I don't have a pool here, but I didn't realize this until 20 minutes before the podcast. And I was reflecting on the things that I wrote in the Vision Espresso a couple of days ago. I spent that day today. Now there was no pool, but I sat on the patio, I ate my fruit, I had a fantastic morning.
Hmm.
I did the exact things that I had written in that Vision Espresso today. I even wrote podcast in the middle of the afternoon. Like, we're going to hear it in a minute. Like, do a little bit of work, have a podcast, have a coaching call, do some interviews, have dinner with the wife, go for a walk with the dogs. It's literally today. The manifestations happen so fast when you get in alignment with them. We have another guy that runs a very successful automotive repair shop, one of the biggest in the area. And he needed to hire a new service manager. And we talked about it one night in class, and I was kind of going through exactly what he should do. And he said, all right, he wrote it all down. The next morning, a guy from off the street walks into his shop and goes, hey, I've been in the military. I've been in sales. I've been doing this. I don't even have a resume with me right now. I got released from my job 2 days ago, and I just felt like I should come in here and ask for a job. And he goes, well, what do you do? And they have a 15-minute conversation. And our guy is telling me, he's like, this man walked in the door and I shook his hand. And he said, I was attracted to him immediately. He was like, this works. He didn't even know the guy.
Mm-hmm.
So we talked about it Monday night. This man walks into his building Tuesday morning. They have a formal interview on Wednesday. He hires him on Thursday, started training on Friday. It's absolutely unbelievable how fast it can work when you get out of your own way.
Hmm. I mean, as you explain all that, I mean, one thought is like, let's just play your espresso because then I think like this is going to deepen in this conversation even
All
more.
right.
But as we go through the rest of this, I want to even hear more of a take on what's the question I want to ask here. How do you continue to step into more vibrational harmony? How do you continue to deepen that practice? So I want you
You,
to keep on.
you want to talk about it now or you want to wait till we're
I want to play this first and then let's
all right.
then let's dive into it.
Okay.
So even before we start, I was just going to let you know that there'll be a little bit of an intro to it. So it'll ask you what is your intention for the day, and then what is one thing that you're grateful for. To speak both of those out loud, then
Okay.
it'll transition into a little bit of a breath work, and then it'll lead right into the audio.
Perfect.
Let's rock and roll.
I'm excited to hear this.
Now, before I hand you off to your highest self, I have three things for you. One, what is your intention for today? Say it out loud.
My intention for today is to be my authentic self and to express myself in the most authentic way to impact the most amount of people.
Good. Number two, what is one thing you're grateful for right now? Say it out loud.
I'm so grateful for the opportunity to be here. The opportunity to be able to share, the opportunity to be able to step into something that makes me feel fulfilled, the opportunity to impact other people by me being authentic and living my authentic self. I mean, that's true freedom. And it makes me so grateful.
Awesome. Now, three, I want you to take 10 highly connected, highly conscious breaths.
Hey, Jonathan, it's me. It's you, the future you. I'm so excited for you to get here, to see who you've become and all you've created. Yeah, the stunning homes across the US, the skyrocketing revenue of Quantum Development Academy, the profound transformation as an emotional thought leader, the recognized term vibronious, shaping personal and business cultures, the cherished car collection celebrated at shows, the freedom of your own plane traveling the world, and all the lives you've had a massive impact on, especially your own. Jonathan, you're incredible. There's absolutely no one out there like you. And as you continued to listen to that vision audio from Nico, is when things really started to shift. Your journey was unfolding more beautifully than you could have ever imagined. Each day, you awaken refreshed beside Samantha in one of your stunning homes. Whether it's your beachside haven on Florida's Gulf Coast, with pristine white sands and emerald waters, or your mountain retreat in Malibu, with panoramic views that stretch into the Pacific. Mornings begin with a ritual that you cherish deeply, indulging in fresh melon as the sun rises, painting the sky in hues you always pause to appreciate. You elevated Quantum Development Academy to astonishing heights, growing a dedicated client base of 250 and boosting your monthly revenue to a staggering $350,000. This financial leap afforded you the freedom to roam across the US, living out your philosophy of vacationing where you live. Each journey wasn't just a change of scenery. It was a meaningful exploration, expanding your collection of homes, each one resonating deeply with your love for diverse landscapes. Physically, you reached the pinnacle of health, reflecting the equilibrium you mastered in both personal and professional realms. This harmony enhanced your connection with Samantha, infusing ease and joy into every interaction, significantly uplifting the lives of those around you. Your profound influence as an emotional thought leader and performance coach transformed countless lives globally, guiding them toward empowered, vibrant living. You coined vibronious, a term that resonated across continents, symbolizing the alignment of one's desires with their life's path, becoming a cornerstone in both business and personal development cultures worldwide. That dream of owning a plane, you realized it, using this freedom to traverse the globe, your missions of inspiration mingling with personal discovery, deepening your impact and enriching your life immensely. Your passion for automobiles evolved into a defining aspect of your identity. With a collection now featuring over 100 exquisite cars, you became a celebrated figure at auto shows, sharing your enthusiasm, launching charity initiatives, and giving others the thrill of experiencing the world's most beautiful cars. Your lifestyle became a vibrant mix of adventure, philanthropy, and unapologetic luxury. Each of your properties across the country transformed into epicenters of joy and hospitality. Whether hosting lively gatherings under the stars in Malibu or enjoying tranquil evenings by the shore in Florida, every setting was a testament to the beautiful life you built with Samantha. Jonathan, I love you. I love who you are. I love who you've always been, and I love who you're constantly becoming. Now get up and make it a great day. Wow, bro. That was absolutely incredible. Absolutely amazing. I love it. I love the way I feel right now.
Mm-hmm.
Bless you, bro.
Thank you, brother. I received that.
That's special. That's extremely special.
Thank you,
But
brother.
I think that's a perfect segue into the question that you asked me.
And I want to alter my question just a tad. And here's the reason why, and I think it's really important. I was even having like some resistance in asking that question because here's something that I've noticed that historically I've done, and I want to step more into just more surrender, more belief, right? And I have a mentor that always talks about when you ask the how, there's nuance to this too. I'll get to it. When you ask the how, it's it's almost a form of disbelief when you're asking like how do I do that?
Yeah.
Now I also have another mentor that talks about is like how do you ask that question? Is it with a question mark or a period? Like how? Or is it like genuinely curious like well how like talk to me like help me. So I think there's nuance to it. But I thought a better question than rather saying like how do you get more into that vibronious harmony. I think a question that really resonates with me, I think is a great question is what does it feel like? What does it look like? What does it taste like? Like what are all the senses like what is it what does it feel like? And what does it look like to be vibronious?
All right. So, and I'm so glad you asked this. And one of the things that we really resonate on, and your mentors are right. We teach in the class in our courses, how's not your responsibility. How is not your job. The how, because how, as we get into how, what is the dominant vibration of how? Like if you're asking a question, how do I heal a relationship? How do I make $1 million? How do I become successful? Your dominant vibration of how, because you obviously don't know at that moment, ends up being a vibration of lack.
Mm,
Because when you ask the how, yes, you can be genuinely curious. And at some point down that journey, the vibration becomes lack because it's the not knowing. And so we say, how's not your responsibility? Get out of your own way.
mm,
The how is not all your job is your sole responsibility is to be vibronious, to be spiritually aligned with the thing you want. All right. So how do you do that? Your feelings.
mm,
You have to feel it. What does it feel like? You put me in a vibronious state just now by listening to my Vision Espresso. Because you said descriptive words. When you said having um I don't remember the exact verbiage, but it was something about the panoramic views of the ocean from the Malibu house. I can visualize that. I can feel what it feels like to stand on that patio and see that. And I know what that feels like with the fire pit there and there's people and I can hear them laughing and we're under the stars and there's lights on the patio. I can feel that. And when I can feel that, that's vibronious.
mm,
You use your feelings. You feel the way that you want to feel. You ask me, how does it feel to have the best day that you've ever had? And people go, well, what's another one? How does it feel to have $1 million? Well, people, the biggest question I get is, I don't know. I never had $1 million. But you could use your imagination, couldn't you?
mm-hmm.
You imagine right now, if you had $1 million or $100,000 or whatever the number is that you want, what would you be doing? Where would you be? Who would you be with? And you can use your imagination. And we have a whole step-by-step program that shows you how to do this. But the first step is you're using your imagination. We're taught not to use our imagination anymore. Your Vision Espresso does exactly that. It gets my mind imagining, okay, what does it feel like to be under the stars in Malibu? What's it feel like to be on those white sand beaches? What's it feel like to travel in the plane? What's it feel like to have this most amazing connection with my wife? What's it feel like to be able to share this information with the masses? What's it feel like to be on stage with Nico? What's that feel like? We're on stage together and we're talking and what are we wearing? What's the temperature feel like in the room? We walk up and we hug each other and we're so excited and we're smiling. What's that feel like? That's vibroniousness. That's being vibronious. We set a vision of what we want, and then we attract that thing by how does it feel if it were happening now? If I were doing that thing right now, how would it feel? How would I be acting? Who would I be talking to? If you want a relationship, how does it feel to wear that wedding ring? I don't even have my ring on right now. How does it feel physically? Like if you're not married and you want to be, what's it feel like to wear that ring? What's it feel like to do anything you want with the special person? What's that feel like? What's it feel like to cook dinner for 2 people? There's mundane feelings, there's mundane tasks that generate feeling. And in that feeling, that's what creates it. Law of attraction says we get more of our dominant vibration.
Mm.
So if our dominant vibration is, oh, I'm so tired of being alone, I'm so tired of being alone, I'm so tired of being alone. All the universe is our dominant vibration is alone at that moment. So all we're going to get is more alone, more lack. And as we start to shift the things we say, we start to shift the things we feel. Instead of saying, I'm so tired of being alone, we start saying, I'm so grateful that the person that is meant for me is on their way. I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be, and so are they.
Mm.
The things that I want also want me. And what's the dominant vibration of that? It's gratitude. It's love. It's good vibration.
Mhm.
And as you shift that vibration, law of attraction says you're going to get more of the dominant vibration. You're going to get more of that dominant feeling. You start to get more of the dominant vibration, the dominant feeling. So if your dominant vibration is gratitude, is joy, is peace, is love, what do you think you're going to get more of? And then there's a whole step-by-step process we go through, because the other thing that people don't understand is how powerful their words are. There's so much power in the tongue. The Bible even says it. So to be vibronious, you use your feelings, right?
Mhm.
The second step of that is super important. And I know you'll resonate with this, and it's your belief. It's the expectation of it. So we have a whole process we call attract and allow. And you attract with your feelings,
Mm.
and then you allow to manifest with your beliefs. So you attract with your feelings and allow with your belief. And when you start operating in that manner, I'm going to attract to me exactly what I want by feeling the way I would feel if I were doing that thing. And then I'm going to allow that thing to manifest in my physical world by believing that it is coming with the expectation of it being there.
Mm.
Because so many people get stuck. They go, all right, I feel the way I want to feel. I feel what it feels like to have $1 million. Where is the $1 million? But how many of us will say, all right, I'm expecting this $1 million, or I'm attracting $1 million, but then you don't really believe that the $1 million is coming. You don't really believe you're worthy to have the relationship you want. You don't believe that you're ever going to be able to be the body shape that you really want to be. The belief is the thing. Neville Goddard has a book called Feeling is the Secret.
Mhm.
And at the end of that book, he talks about this. Everybody sees it and they go, feeling is the secret. Feeling is the secret. Feeling is the secret. Well, toward the end of that book, he says, feeling is great, but the secret is actually belief.
Mm.
So when you combine feeling the way you would feel if you were that version of yourself, that's what the Vision Espresso does. It puts you into a feeling of vibroniousness with the thing, the experience, the person that you would be if you were feeling that way already. You attract with your feeling and you allow it to manifest with your beliefs. Starts with imagination. You may not have everything you want at this exact moment, but you can imagine how it feels right now to have that thing. What's something you want? You
Stadium
want to
event.
impact a stadium event. You want to impact 1 billion lives. We've talked about this before. How does it feel to run that stadium event? How does that feel to walk out on that stage? How does that feel to have the rush of the crowd and the lights? Is it daytime? Is it nighttime? What are you wearing? Who's with you?
Want me to describe it all?
Yeah, if you want to. I'm just giving examples, but please use it. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I had a conversation just the last podcast, but they were talking about like that dominating that one thought. And it's like, this is the one that always comes back to me. But it's at night. I get up on stage. I give the breath work facilitator a big hug. I'm in comfortable clothing. I can hear the sound of the crowd cheering. I can sit down, crack open my LaCroix, sit down, having a conversation with my guests. I can smell the popcorn. I can smell the fresh cut grass. I can feel the gentle breeze.
Those you are vibronious with that feeling. And you can get so descriptive about it because you saying that, you can describe it in such detail that I feel like I'm there with you. And that's a key determiner. If you could describe your feeling and someone else could feel it with you, you're on track,
Mm,
right? And then the question comes, well, do you believe this? Do you believe, and not just you, anybody, do you believe that you could run this event? Do you believe, because then we have all these self-sabotaging thoughts that come in. Oh, who would ever come to this? How would I ever get these people? Who thinks, whatever, head trash is pulling in.
hmm.
But if you can believe it, do you believe that you're going to do it? Absolutely, you do. That's why it's your dominant vibration. That's why it keeps going back to the same dominant thought.
Mm.
You know it. This is an intuitive download, bro. Like this is one of the first things you told me about when we started talking, you know, in San Diego. I said, "What's your dream?" And he told me this.
Well, I think something that really has been speaking to me lately is like, I love this conversation about belief. I even made a YouTube video around like self-image, confidence, and belief. And I think they're all kind of paired with one another. And belief, where was I going with this? Ah, yes. So I truly believe that belief comes from, there's kind of two ways people can go about like things that they want or that they they want with their head, they want with their thoughts. They're like, I want that, like almost kind of like a 2-year-old energy of I don't have that, I want that, you have that, I want that. Or it's a soul-led, heart-led desire.
Yes.
And I feel, as I've just been kind of reflecting on that, is that I believe things so much more that it's a heart-led desire rather than a head want.
Understood.
Because when you get so clear and you remove all that resistance and you're in that feeling and you get those downloads and speaking in front of a crowd of 50,000 people walking on the stage, getting chills, giving a big hug, like being in that present moment of just that, like that wasn't like, "Ah, I really want that. I got to get that. That's going to make me feel validated and I'll be good enough then." It was like, no, God told me that that's what I'm supposed to do
Destined for that.
because that's I really think that's like the purpose of life is to find your gifts and become your highest self. And the way you do that is you keep on listening to God and Him telling you
Absolutely.
what to do.
We talk about this. Um, and I tell people, and I can't remember who told me this, and I've quoted this 1,000 times, and I don't remember who said it. It might have been Wayne Dyer. He said, prayer is when we talk to God, but intuition is when God talks to you.
Hmm.
And those feelings you feel, those deep down intuitive knowings, there's no ego in that. I want the Lamborghini because it makes me feel good. I want the whatever the thing is. There's some ego there.
Hmm.
There's no ego in this this stadium event for you. Why are you doing the event in the first place? You're doing the event because the authentic version of you wants to help these people. You want to pass on your information to someone else. You're the custodian of this information, and it is your job. It's your responsibility to teach and lead.
And I also believe that it's really about finding, because, I've even had some people that have asked me the specific question after coming across some of my YouTube videos. They say, how did you find your purpose? And one of the things I think about a lot is you can find like that's an interesting conversation. I think there's a lot of different ways you go about it. But one thing that speaks to me a lot is that take audit of what makes you feel the most alive.
There you go.
And
Yep.
so I reflect as we're even having this conversation about even the stadium, or whether it's a stadium or even just a small event, like what I was talking about even before we got on this call. We had some calls yesterday, did a master class and then did our community call yesterday. And I feel so alive when I'm around great people, having great conversations like we're doing right now, having a podcast. But also, I love just throwing events and being around amazing people in that energy. And that's when I feel the most alive. I feel the most alive when I'm nervous to do something, specifically speaking, and then I go and do it. I feel the most present and alive when I'm in the moment on stage, just letting God speak through me. And that's why I feel like that again, maybe these are even downloads that are coming through right now that like that's why I have so much belief and confidence in myself as on stage because that's where I know I feel alive and that's where those are my gifts.
So you asked this question about how people were saying to you, how do you, and this is for everybody, how do you, um, what was the question? How do you find your purpose?
Yeah.
Right. So one of the things we teach, our class is called Mastering Self-Image, and
Mm,
it's all about mastering that self-image because within the self-image, what do you get? Authenticity. And
mm,
when you can start living the authentic version of you, then you don't have to hold anything back. And that's what you're doing, dude. You're living the authentic version of you. You're being authentic. All these things have they're soul given. They're within you. And
mm,
you're being authentic about it. There's nothing, you're not hiding anything. You're not you're not working a dead end job that you hate. You're vibronious with the thing that you want. You're in vibrational harmony with what you're doing. And you thrive in this environment because you're aligned with it.
mm.
I think that's part of the thing that attracted us together in the first place. I mean, we're in a room of several hundred people and we just keep running into each other.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Not a mistake.
Right. Like none of this is a mistake here. You're vibrationally aligned, you're being authentic. I'm being authentic. There's an attraction factor. And when you do that, when you're authentic in the way that you work and you believe and you operate your day-to-day life, what do you attract? You'll get the relationship you want. I mean, how hard do you have to work to have great relationships in your life? Nothing. They just come to you. You and I didn't do any effort to to become friends on this. We didn't do any effort. We weren't in that room just like searching who could we be friends with. We got to interview these people. It just pow, it happens.
Yeah.
And that can happen with money. That can happen with personal relationships. That can happen with health. That happens with, I mean, it's absolutely it's crazy. But it's systematic and it's purposeful. And when you live this authentic feeling that comes through self-confidence, self-image, if you're questioning yourself every day, going, "Oh, I
Mm.
don't know if I wasn't, should I really do this podcast? What if we don't align? And what if we don't do this?" How nervous would you be? How much anxiety would you bring? You bring a lot of anxiety. And then what's the anxiety going to bring? If anxiety is your dominant vibration, you're just bringing more of it and you're going to attract more of that to your life. How many people do we have in our lives that go, why do I keep dating the same type of person? Why do I keep getting these same dead end jobs? Well,
Mm.
what's your vibrational alignment?
Do you know if there is any, I've been genuinely curious about this. Is there any way that you can measure your vibration to know where you're at?
I don't know the answer to that.
Wouldn't that be the coolest tool where you just like knew where you at on the scale?
I mean, we have a joy scale. One of our things is as happy as possible as often as possible. Because if the lower vibration you are in, and you know the difference of in the vibration personally between when you're upset or when you're happy.
Hmm.
How do you measure that on a frequency scale that other people, I don't know the answer to that. But the philosophy we have is as happy as possible as often as possible.
Mm.
Now, that does not mean you have to be the most happy, joyful, cheery person all the time. Because there's times we're going to be frustrated and we're going to be upset and we're going to be mad and we're going to be angry. But as long as we're aware that we're there, we can grab the next best feeling. And as long as we realize, hey, dude, I am so mad about this. Like, what's one better feeling than being mad? Maybe it's just like frustrated. And then you can go, okay, I'm not mad anymore. I'm frustrated. What's one better feeling than frustrated? Maybe it's like annoyed.
Mm.
And then from annoyed, you could go, what's one better feeling than annoyed? We're like, okay, I'm irritated. And then from irritated, you could kind of get to sort of a neutral place. And then from neutral, you could be like, all right, it wasn't as bad as I thought it was. And then from there, you could go, it's actually kind of okay. And it worked out fine. And all of a sudden, you've just worked up the vibrational scale. And you didn't have to, because people go, why don't you just be happy? Well, dude, there's times when you can't get from super mad to super happy in one jump. So we just teach this joy scale,
Hmm.
and awareness is the first step in that.
And
But
just meeting people where they're at.
yeah. And when you can realize when you just remember as happy as possible as often as possible, which doesn't mean that I have to be the most joyful person all the time. It just means I'm constantly searching for the next better vibration because I know I'm attracting on that level. I know if I stay mad, guess what I'm going to get? I'm going to get some more whatever that attracts that.
And I want to come back to there's been a concept that really spoke to me recently because the whole conversation around doubt, worry, you could even call worry is negative goal setting.
Yeah, dude, you're just going in the wrong direction. You're getting what you want the wrong way.
But this thing that came to me for whatever reason, I'm not sure where it actually came from. It might have come from, I've been going to this new Bible study that's been really helpful recently, but it was talking about, I'm not sure if it was talking about, or I just perceived it as this, is that the one mind versus the two mind.
Okay.
The one mind is just focused, hey, this is where we're going, this is who we're becoming, this is the vibration that we're at. The two mind is that, but then it's also the doubt, the worry, the concern. And it's like this oscillation between the two minds,
Okay.
as opposed to just like, hey, let's have the one mind. And we're just solely focused on that, as opposed to balancing it out and letting that energy kind of balance between the two of them. Because again, like you said, is like the more that you worry, the more that you're gonna, it's like draining the energy of where you want to go.
You know what I learned about, so I think what we're talking about here is the is a balance of energy. And one of the things I learned about balance of energy is that resistance is okay sometimes.
Hmm.
In a fact that if if you went into the gym and you had 5 pound dumbbells and you were like, I'm gonna exercise this bicep muscle with 5 pound dumbbells, how strong would you get? You would get to a certain spot where you were like, there's not much growth here anymore.
Facts.
And we get to this place. I got to this place. Financially, I got to this spot where I was like, everything's cushy, everything's fine. And a lot of people get to this spot. You know what we call that spot? Comfort zone.
Hmm.
where there's just no, you never have a problem. I'm sure you know these people that there's nothing going on in their life at all. Like everything's completely easy. Every piece of paper has a place to go. Like there's no resistance at all. Everything is easy and everything flows and it's nice and that is wonderful. But if we sit there long enough, it becomes a comfort zone because there's no growth and we tend to stagnate. And a lot of people do that. They work their way up to a financial place and then they just get there and they plateau and then they just they never push any further. They never grow anymore. They just get comfortable.
It's about continuing to set that vision.
That's exactly right. And when you continually set that vision, you're gonna encounter some resistance, right? At this exact moment, you've never run a stadium event with 50,000 people. And you can plan it and you can imagine it and you can do all of these different things, but somewhere within that, there's going to be some resistance in one way or another.
Yeah.
But what's that resistance do? All it does is make you better. You grow. You're growing and you're growing and we're growing.
Strength.
Now, exactly, you're strengthening. You're working out that muscle. For me, I called it a risk muscle because I've had a lot of people for so long say, because I would take a lot of risk either in business or in other ways. And they go, wow, that's a risky decision. I worked my risk muscle for so long that it's gotten pretty big.
Yeah.
And it came from some resistance.
That's powerful, man.
And so when you step outside of your comfort zone, it's okay to hang out in your comfort zone for a little bit. It's all right. It's all right to relax. It's absolutely okay. I want you to be easy and I want you to relax and I want you to feel your way through it and I want you to take time and I want you to just be peaceful. But when you feel that inspiration, take action.
Well, dude, we could riff for hours, man.
Bro,
And we might have to do a part number two.
let's do
But
it.
do want to wrap this up. I got some more things for the rest of the day. But bro, like, thank you for coming and sharing your wisdom. I felt like I just got so present in this conversation. I even kind of lost track of time, man.
Dude, you made it possible. You living in your authentic self has allowed me to be my authentic self.
Hey, man, I received that, brother. Well, cool. Last one I'll just ask you is, um, what do you hope people, what would you love for people to take away from this conversation we just had?
I want them to embrace two different things. If you don't remember anything else about anything we've talked about here, write these two things down. As happy as possible, as often as possible. And that you don't have to, that doesn't mean you have to be joyful all the time. It just means be aware of where you're feeling. How do you feel right now? And could you feel a little bit better? Could you reach for one feeling better than you currently are? And then from that place, could you reach for one feeling better than you currently are then? Because we attract from our place of vibration. So whatever vibrational place you're at, you're going to get more on that same wavelength. So if you're feeling mad, you're going to get more stuff in your life that makes you upset. So as happy as possible, as often as possible, you're reaching for one step higher of a vibrational frequency. And then attract and allow. You attract with your feelings and you allow with your belief. We've all attracted so much stuff. You've seen the cartoons where somebody goes to clean the house and they just pack all the stuff in a closet. And then at some point somebody opens the closet and all this stuff just falls on them.
Yep.
We have these vibrational closets where everything we've ever wanted is getting stuffed in that closet. We've attracted it. It's stuffed in our attraction closet. But we haven't opened the door of belief to allow it to flood our lives. So open that, allow with your belief. Allow it to manifest in your life. Open your allowing closet and believe it and allow this stuff to just pour on you. How many times have you met someone that their life went from 0 to 1,000,000 and just like, pow? You told me about one of your roommates that this happened to.
Yep.
He opened his allowing closet and he allowed it to just flow.
Yeah.
So I challenge people to be aware of your feelings and reach for the next best feeling, and then to understand, attract, and allow, and open your allowing closet and let your blessings flow, because it's all stacked up there just waiting on you.
That's so good. Thank you, brother. Where can people find you?
So we've pulled everything down right now because we're doing something different, and everybody has to go through personal interviews with me. So
I love it.
we are very selective about who we call it, being vibrationally snobby, where we are very selective about who we will work with and who we will bring into the team. So the easiest way is through Instagram or Facebook,
Cool.
at Jonathan Slark on Facebook, or the Quantum Development Academy on Facebook,
Hmm.
um, or One King Johnny on Instagram. Oh, I just lost you on my camera, bro.
Yeah, where'd you go, man?
Hang on a second. I think my battery died.
Cool.
Uh-oh.
We'll definitely put all that in the show notes. But yeah, dude, again, so grateful for you, man. Thanks for coming on the podcast. And thank you everyone for listening. Really appreciate you.
Absolutely. Thank you very much. We got our camera back. I
There
love you. I'm grateful for you. This is so fantastic, and hopefully we'll be back for a part 2.
Amen. All right, brother. Take care.
See you. Bye.